Hello, sound check, please. I cannot hear any sound from anywhere.
Well, I hear you.
Okay. Oh, good. Now I can hear someone. Is
We'll be starting the program in just a moment.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, good. And this evening, because what Punason there are some venerable and devotees also join us this week. So we need to let them to have a 5% at the beginning of the program. So we will go through that first before we start our 15 minutes meditation and further with the Dhamma talk and discussion. Yeah. So let me share my screen. I need to share. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, Saya.
Yes, you can see. Okay.
Yes.
So I would like to check with what Buddha knows on Venerable and the lay devotees. So are you ready over there for taking the 5%? So I think it's time for us to start so we can continue the program. Firstly, we pay homage to the Triple Gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakahato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sahawaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. We pay homage to the Lord Buddha and recite Namo Tassa for 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampano sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati sattha deva manusana buddho bhagavahati. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Upanaiko Pachatang Veditabo Vinyuhiti. Supatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Ujupatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Nyayapatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Samhijipatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Yadidang chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala Esa bhagavato sawaka sangho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaniyo Anuttarang punyakitang lokasati. Mayam aye visung visung rakanataya tisaranena saha panchasilani yachahama dutiyampi mayam aye visung visung rakanataya tisaranena saha panchasilani yachama Tatiyampi mayam aye visung visung rakanataya tisaranena saha panchasilani yachahama. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Panchasila, the 5%. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Adina Dana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sura Meraya Majapamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sabbapapasa karanang kusala saupasampada. Sacita pariyodapanang itang buddha nasasanam. Pay honor to the parents. Ananta guna sampana janeti janaka ubho. Maihamata pituhunam va padevandahami sadarang etena sacavahajena sadasoti bhavantu me. Honor to the teachers. Pachera charya hunti gunuttara nusasaka. Panya buddhikarete te dino vade namamiham etena sacavajena hotu me jaya mangalam. Sabbe satta sukhita hontu avera hontu abhyapaja hontu aniga hontu sukhi atanang pariharantu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Good evening again, everyone here. Happy to see you here. So this evening, our topic is about working the path of liberation skillfully for everyone. And the sutta that we will refer to is Danta Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya number 125. So when I go through that sutta, I found that it actually very much talking about, like if I can give a summary, it is like what we recite just now. One of the verse that uttered by the Buddha, this Sabba Papasa Akaranang Kusalasa Upasampada Sachita Pariyodapanang Etang Buddhana Sasanam. So the meaning is not doing any evil, but doing all kind of good deeds and purify one's own mind. And here in this sutta, especially the Buddha teach the novice Achiryavata, who was approached by the prince Jayasena for a teaching. So the prince especially have a question, a specific question about how a mendicant who meditates diligently, keenly, and resolutely can experience the unification of mind. So he asked this to the novice. And actually the novice is hesitate to reply, to give any teaching, because he's a novice and he was thinking about if the prince couldn't understand, he will be tired and exhausted to have to answer for the many questions. So, but then by the both agreement, the prince saying that I will not ask you for the question, even if I don't understand. So, but you please share with me what you have learned from the Buddha. And then after the prince has shared that, after the novice Achiravata has shared that, and then the prince get up from his seat and it's impossible that one who meditates diligently, keenly, resolutely could experience the unification of mind. And then he just left. And then novice say, oh, he want to know how actually he can do better. So he go and check with the Buddha, inform Buddha about this. And then the Buddha say, if you have shared with the prince too similarly, then he will right away to have confidence in you and in your teaching. So one of the simile is that the simile of the mountain is about two friends. So one of the friends, so he climbs up to the peak of the mountain. He can see very like completely overall the view from the top, the peak of the mountain, the beautiful view and many different objects stand at the peak. And the friend share with another friend that who stand at the foot of that mountain, say, I seeing this thing. And then the friend say, impossible, how can you see this? I cannot see. And then the friend go down from the peak of the mountain and bring him another friend with his hand. And then both of them stand at the peak of the mountain. And when he reached there, he say, what can you see now? I see the same thing as you shared before. So this is how the Buddha say the novice Achiravata should, by giving this simile, then perhaps the prince Jayasena would understand better. Because for the prince who is indulged in sensual pleasure and who is, continuously seeking in fever and seeking for that sensual pleasure, it's impossible for him could see the things that a renunciate could experience. But by telling him that if you do the same way how I practice, then possible you can reach at that point, the point where you can experience the same thing. And here the Buddha also give the metaphor of an elephant. The king requests the trainer of the elephant to get his royal elephant to a forest and tie the wild bull elephant to this royal elephant, tied to his neck, and then bring the wild bull elephant to the open. So this is like the king is like the Buddha who used the Dhamma to tie one who never heard the Dhamma. So by using the Dhamma to attract the people, to make them understand. And when people understand, first heard Dhamma, and then people will start to change their behavior and pattern of thinking. So we so-called that like mundane right view about the law of karma, the Four Noble Truths, so forth. And here is like in the same way, when I reflect on this sutta, and then I see myself how I came from a household life to a homeless one, that process, when I reflect back, so it's similar thing. So firstly, we need to go to open area like the wild bull elephant that we detach and keep away from the group that we used to. If there is like unhealthy activity that we stay on before, or we move to join with a group that who are practicing in the Dhamma, that would be very helpful for us rather than we practice alone actually. So when we stay in the group of who practice in the Dhamma, we can progress speedily without even ourselves aware of that. That is how I experience it myself. And then further, when people have faith in the Buddha, in the teaching, and then people start to take up the 5%, perhaps like everyone here, you all taking up 5%, and then further restrain the sensual pleasure. Then when you go further, you try to subdue the 5 hindrances. Then you further with your meditation practice. And then the sutta also talk about first, second, third, fourth jhana, and then finally gain enlightenment. I do not know if anyone here have attained that stage. Yeah. But if we say that from household life to the homeless life, there is a transition. There we can see from the sutta, it said about the king asked the trainer of the elephant to bring the royal elephant to the forest and to get the wild elephant, tie it, bring to the open. But the king doesn't like send other kinds of animal like lion, tiger, or other, but the same type. So in the same way, when we say that we practice on the path skillfully, many times when we begin to practice, when we have faith in the Dhamma, we also think about our loved one, right? Like myself, I was thinking, oh, how to share this Dhamma with my sister so they could live better and happier. We will think about our loved one, want to share a good thing with them. So this is like, if we have a good relationship with people around us, with our loved one, it will be easier. It will be easier. You will not listen to someone that you dislike, you have problem with, right? So one of the element of our practice is that we be kind to people. When we be kind to people, we can help people a lot, especially in the Dhamma. When we share the Dhamma, people will listen. That's one thing. And then further, the Sutta said, how the trainer do, like bring it to the openness, and then tie it to a post. and he say lovely, agreeable words to it. So even the animal like to hear, not to say human beings, right? Say so very kind, and then the animal happy, feel comfort. Then further you train it, pick up the stick, put down the stick, or stand or sit. You give many instructions in the same way. When you want to help your loved one, and then you be kind to them, they feel comfort and agreeable, and then further you bring them for further immerse in the Dhamma, in the activity, either to be like a volunteer or to join a Dhamma talk, to listen, to more exposed to the Dhamma. And then in this way, it'll be helpful for them. If we walk alone on the path, it is always not easy. If we have a group, it multiply the progress and also the effect. And then when they can independent, they have gained enough confidence, and then they can walk themselves, they can further do their meditation. They will do it themselves. They were, very keen in that. Yeah, when everything is ready for them, it'll be at the beginning. Because for the first step, it's always difficult. That what we need to accompany our friends or our loved one for that. So I think I pause here for myself, and I would like to hear the experience from you online. How is your transformation from before and after you come on the path, and we check in again at which stage you are now, or perhaps you can share on that. Chintana, Sister Chintana, would you like to share a little? I cannot hear you.
Okay, I had to unmute. I took 8 precepts at Vinaya, not Vinaya, but I took 8 precepts a few months ago, and I was going to keep them all through Vasa, and I did not, and that was a choice that I made recently.
Yes.
So now I'm back. I'm down to 5 precepts, except once a week. When the moon is a certain way, then I will again have 8 precepts. So it was I liked it because it helped me focus more. There was less to think about. I didn't have to think about where to go, what to do, what to eat. I was always, afternoon, I was not eating. It was real easy. And picking up books about Dhamma, and reading them, that was easy. What was not easy, though, is getting hungry and being around family. It's like they're eating, they're having dinner, the festivities, and I'm like, oh, I'm fasting, and they all think I'm crazy. That was kind of hard, but I grew from it.
When I was a lay person.
So, thank you.
But thank you so much, Chintana. But you still you can choose. Actually, we do not need to stick to full moon, new moon day, or Uposatha day. At your own convenience day, also you can do that. Especially in your big day, how you celebrate it. You can do this practice of taking an 8 precept that gain more merits for yourself, and you can share with your family members at your convenience, time and condition. That would be more easier. Yeah. It is best that if you can do it on Uposatha day, but if we can't just happen on those days, we can't make it. We are with our family members and everyone eating dinner, and you are just alone, don't want to eat. people will feel like weird. The same happened to me, like the first day when I heard about Dhamma, the first day, and then I decide I'll go vegetarian because I like to take fresh seafood, which is all live, I went to a fish village and I like to take the seafood live. Then I say, oh no, this is something Buddhism say killing. Oh, I should stop now. Why no one tell me? Now I get to know. I heard the Dhamma. I say, okay, from today onwards, I'll be vegetarian. And then what happened? Then when I do that, my father say, something wrong with you? Why you be vegetarian? And they say, oh, my dear daughter, this is not convenience. When we relative, big family members together, we have dinner in the weekend. So the only you taking vegetarian, this is not so nice. People have many questions then. And then consider about that. Then I say, it's okay. So I choose my own day, which is convenience for me. Yeah, and also no disturbing the family members, so they don't feel uncomfort, and then I do it. But gradually, like when the condition is ripened, and then even my father say, I would ask your mom to prepare for you every day, so you have it. So he's very supportive when the times come. Yeah, that's why I've been vegetarian until now for about like 15 years before I ordained, and now until now today. So remember, just like what this sutta share, we need to, make our loved one like comfort. This is one of the skill, how you want to bring them to the Dhamma and to share that Dhamma is good thing. What the Buddha teach is good thing. This is one of the way we don't have like conflict with them when the time is not right. Yeah, but when the condition ripen with their good merits, things will change. They will even very supportive for you to do that. They will support in many ways so that you can do the practice. This is how I experience. Sadhu, sadhu. Daniel, I see your hand raised. Please.
Thank you. I guess there was two things for me. One was when I read this sutta, it feels like the novice is pretty reactive to the king. He's frustrated, right? Because he starts by saying, I don't know if I should teach you because if you don't understand things, I'll get upset. And then he decides to do it anyway. And I feel like when he goes to the Buddha, he's like, this guy wouldn't even listen to me, And I like the Buddha's response because it's he says, well, he's a king. He's concerned with sensual pleasure, with power, with wealth. Of course, he doesn't understand you. He couldn't do anything else. And then, he talks about, would you expect a wild elephant to be able to plow a field? Of course not, So you should not be distressed over this. This is pretty normal. Which I liked that response. And then for me, I was lucky because before I kind of started practicing with Dhamma Dharini, I had stopped drinking for about a year. I had stopped taking medication and I didn't like how it interacted with the lack of medication. So I stopped drinking for a month. And then I just thought, I'll stick with it. I enjoy it. It's not difficult for me. And then I sometime after that decided to stop eating meat. I had stopped eating red meat anyway, and I thought, well, just stop eating meat altogether. It's not that hard. I've been vegetarian before. And so I was kind of lucky that when I started practicing again with y'all, those are probably the two hardest things, I think, for Westerners at least to stop doing when it comes to the 5 precepts. And for me, I felt lucky that I'd already made those decisions even before practicing. So anyway.
Oh, sadhu, 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 a big sadhu for you. It seems like not difficult for you, no?
At least not the 5 precepts. I don't want, I haven't done the 8, so I shouldn't overspeak, but the 5 are a relative. See, yeah.
Wow, this is really good. And I really, rejoice to hear that. I don't expect that you're here like everyone else have been taking the 5% for many years. And I remember the other day when we were sharing and discussing the Dhamma online, you raised a question about like for the Westerner is people when they heard discipline, they are scared about the word discipline.
Yeah.
So another way is that like we can put it, this is a healthy lifestyle. It's no need to take it as a discipline, like very, rigid thing or strong. It is
Yeah.
a healthy lifestyle. That
My
happy
doctor
lifestyle
loves
for
it.
family.
I tell my doctor that I don't drink, I don't eat meat. She thinks it's great. So added benefit.
Great. There are truly that some people they are easy for them to go to the second chapter to change their life, to make a shift. Like you did many things, like your transformation is quite smooth, except the 5 precept, but you did take it up. And further, the 8 precept might be a little challenge, but you can keep the 5 precept. This is remarkable, I felt. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sadhu. Thanks for sharing. How about I would like to invite you see beside me. This is a Venerable Kunga that I has invited her to join during the Sunday program that we have met before. And I would like to invite Venerable Kunga if she have any thought on this sutta.
Hello, everyone. I like this sutta very much because I felt that it was very clear in laying out the step-by-step process that one can take in order to go from a life of addiction to sensual pleasure and a life filled with ignorance and craving to the ultimate goal of realizing nibbana, complete freedom from suffering. And the very first step, which I didn't really focus on until right now, until our discussion, is it starts with the Buddha, with the appearance of a Buddha in the world. And in the analogy of the elephant tamer, the Buddha is the king who decides that he wants to tame an elephant. He wants to make an elephant serviceable for him and his needs. And thankfully, the Buddha doesn't want an elephant to go to war. But the Buddha, he wants sentient beings to be happy. He wants them to be peaceful, to realize the truth. And looking at my own path, it really all did begin with the Buddha. I remember seeing statues of the Buddha as a child growing up, and the Buddha looked so peaceful, and he was just sitting there. He doesn't appear to be doing very much. And that just seems so relieving from the way I was raised. I was told that I always needed to be doing something, to be achieving, to be, working very hard and running after this and that. And seeing this human being just sitting there peacefully smiling, it was so different than all the other role models that I had around me. And he seemed genuinely happy. And I didn't think that most of the people I met in my daily life, even as a child, I could tell that they weren't genuinely happy. The only person I thought was genuinely happy was my grandmother, who was very religious and devout Catholic. She prayed constantly, and she had very deep faith in God and in Jesus Christ. And so I could see that true happiness comes from spirituality. But for me, I tend to assume that it's all on me, my practice, the path, it's all up to me. And I often forget about the Buddha, but the Buddha is the origin of all of this. And to really focus more on cultivating my relationship with the Buddha and recalling his good qualities every day, because he is the first step as our fundamental teacher. He is the one who has introduced all of us to the Dhamma and the real path out of suffering. So I really would like to remember that more often and recall the Buddha to mind. And it's very reassuring, I think, to remember that there is a human being who has done this. He's been able to achieve what we all want to achieve. And then it takes the Sangha to help us practice the Dhamma. And the Sangha in this case, I think, is the elephant tamer. They really help the elephant learn the ways of the Dhamma and how to change the behavior and the way of thinking. So Buddha, Sangha, and then Dhamma, eventually we come to realize it for ourselves directly. And in this way, all three jewels are really needed in order for us to go from this wild elephant that's completely useless and actually dangerous to a person who's able to be of benefit not only to themselves but to everyone else. So those are my thoughts on the sutta.
Yes, very well said, Ramakunga. So it's true that the tamer, the trainer of the elephant is like the Sangha member. Yes, that's how we do, how to lead the society to be moral, yeah, to practice to be in good moral behavior that benefits the self and others and bring peace and harmony to the community and to the world, where we don't encourage war and with less selfishness. Yeah. And the end of Sutta is also talk about, it mentioned even the elephant is the elderly one, when they die, if they have not been tamed, they still consider an untamed elephant. In the same way for the Sangha, someone most higher in seniority, in rope, but if they are not realize the Dhamma, do not attain, they still consider someone that haven't been tamed yet, untrained. So this thing is very much in our mind state, how we train our mind ultimately. Here, perhaps I would like to check, how about Elaine? Are you there? Elaine?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Elaine, would you like to share something?
I'm keeping the 5 precepts, and I have a daily meditation practice. I feel like I should be able to do more because my circumstances for practice are really good. I'm retired, so I don't have to work. My husband's very understanding, likes my Buddhist practice. He's Catholic, but we get along just fine. Yeah, speech is the one that I have a hard time with, and perhaps judgment. And yeah, I need to be better in those areas.
Mm-hmm. And you do practicing meditation, right? In your daily life?
Yes, I meditate for an hour and a half in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe only miss twice a year. Lately, I've been trying to meditate in the evenings as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's harder for me because when I think about going to bed, that's it. But I'm starting off trying for a half an hour every night. And then hopefully increasing that.
Have you ever tried to join any meditation retreat?
I went to one Zen type retreat, but it wasn't Theravada. It was just for a weekend, and it was a silent retreat. But no, I've never been to a retreat. The reason why I'm wearing white is because I did Ajahn Sana's Upasika program. And that was a year-long program. So it did explain a lot about Buddhist culture and teachings.
So, like for your daily practice of meditation, what are the methods that you use? May I know?
Usually I just go straight to the breath. I do a body scan, or I used to do a body scan. But now I go straight to the breath. And usually it's pretty quiet. I do get some thoughts fleetingly, and but it's a pretty peaceful meditation.
Okay, so I have a question. When you meditate, if there's a judgmental mind arise in the thought, so how you react to that?
My meditation, I follow Ajahn Cha's suggestion of being alone in a room, and also Ajahn Brahm, where you put the past away, the future away. And so in my meditation, that really is a time just to focus on the mind and meditation. And it's in life that I could be judgmental. So in meditation, it's kind of selfish, but that's my time just to meditate.
Yeah.
Right.
So you never have, like, when you meditate and then the thought arise about the mind comment about someone else and judgment, that had it happened before?
No, they're fleeting thoughts about anything, but it's usually, I've dealt a lot with remorse, and that judgment is in daily life. That's when it will come up. I will say something and then I'll think, oh, why did I do that? That wasn't my intention, right? And it'll be, I haven't given myself, well, it'll be a spur of the moment thing, and it's like, oh, I slipped up, right? And that wasn't my intention. In meditation, though, it's no, I don't think about judgment. I do meditation as well.
Okay. I would suggest that, like, even like in daily life, when if there's a judgmental thought arise, yeah, I think there is a perception, the perception of thinking how that person should behave or how things should be. There's a perception there. And then but the perception itself, when the thought like that arise, and then perhaps you can look at it, this perception itself is impermanent, it's changing, right? It's not like all the time that you are like that, but that sometimes it arises. So when it arises, and then you look at it passing away, but you don't like feel remorse about it because it arises. Because the mind is not controlled by you. It's just sometimes it's a habit of the past, and then it arises again to the surface. And then you just let it pass away. You note that it's arise and then let it pass. Don't remorse about that. When you get remorse, you will get, it doesn't helpful. Even it will come more. No?
Yeah, I don't hang on to things like I used to, but I do know when I've messed up. But it is getting better.
Okay.
I can see it getting better.
Yes.
But yes, I think I've had so much guilt and I've been really hard on myself in my life. So Buddhism has changed that for me, and it's helped me come to terms with that. So the remorse, it's not there anymore. It's pretty much gone, and that's really a nice feeling.
Right. I do not want you to have remorse or feel guilt about that, but like rather look at it, it just happened to arise and then it will pass away. That will be easier, so that it doesn't disturb your mind. To make your mind uncalm, then there will be, what follows is unmindful. Yeah, when the mind not calm, and then more thing will like mess up. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I see here in the chat room, Sister Chintana was sharing. She say her doctor is Thai and the doctor supports even she fasting. And okay, the doctor knows about 8 precepts, that's good. Okay, since Vesa has been 3 months, so I practice 8 precepts was the nekkhamma for 3 months. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. It's happened sometimes, like when we practice, sometimes the doctor will advise that you should take dinner for your health or something like that. When you got sick, you should take meat. This is good for you. You should take fish. Yeah, this is from the perspective of the doctor, care for the patient. But for ourselves, I think we always can adjust according to our practice and also the need of the body, skillfully, but not torture yourself. Yeah. And you know that if you have to take dinner before taking the medicine, the intention is to make the body healthy. It's not like you are greedy for the food that you want to take dinner. That mind is clear, then it's fine. Just maybe 3 days or 5 days after that, you recover, then it's fine. And no need to feel guilty about that. Yeah, when you are really sick, you need medicine, then you take some food before the medicine. Yeah. Don't make the stomach upset and then you vomit or get gastric. This is not wise, because that taking the dinner for medicine is just short term, but the long run is you can keep fasting though if you take that precept. Yeah, you can keep on your practice, but let the body be healthy first. No? Okay. Would you like to share anything, Venerable, at the moment? Otherwise, we will invite. Yeah.
I'm okay. I don't have anything.
Okay. I know Richard always have very, very delight in the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. Maybe Richard, you have something to share with us.
Thank you, Aya.
Sadhu.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you well.
In terms of this sutta,
Yes.
there's a couple of interesting subtle points there. When the friend makes it to the top of the mountain, he can see all these, lovely parks, lovely groves, lovely meadows, lovely ponds. And so this is an indication that when you attain enlightenment in the Buddha's dispensation, it's not nothingness. That's why it's described this way. it's not necessarily going to be pawns and things like that, but it's not nothingness. And I have a hypothesis that this right here is talking about the attainment of Sotapan, and that because from the top of the hill, now you can see on the other side, this is on the other side of the mountain is blocking this view. Now on the other side, you can see these wondrous things. And now if you go down the mountain, right, you'll get closer and closer to them, and then eventually you'll be able to enjoy these things. So that would be like arahantship, you know, when you can enjoy nirvana. So anyways, that's one point. Another point is about the taming of the elephant. He binds him by the neck. So it's by understanding. The Buddha's teaching is this is the head. So the king's elephant, I've seen pictures of this. He's got a rope around his head, and he binds the other elephant, you know, with that rope to his head. So what that means is he's controlling and helping him understand, right, the Dharma. So you start with the head, and that's why later on it says he binds his head again to a post and things like that. So it's by understanding. And then it says at a certain point it says he gives him food and water, and the elephant takes that and says, "Oh, he'll live." Okay, so that indicates some kind of level of penetration of the Dharma. Oh, he lived. He's very joyful. Oh, the king's elephant will live. You know, there's like an exclamation point and everything. So he's penetrated something. The Dharma has become like his nutrition, you might say, right? He's being nurtured by the Dharma, right? That's what's maintaining him now, not physically, but you know, mentally, right? Like that. As far as my own experiences are concerned, I usually don't discuss it much, except for with very close people, but I'm getting older now and closer to death, and I kind of feel like if I don't talk about certain things, then others can't be helped. Yeah. So when I was 27, I attained Sotapan. And I was not in the Theravadan tradition. I was in a Zen tradition. So I didn't even know what Sotapan was. But I knew I had attained a partial enlightenment. I didn't consider it a full enlightenment. I knew it wasn't a full enlightenment, but I saw the deathless. I saw that now I would eventually achieve the deathless. It was very clear to me. And later on, I realized it was Sotapan when I started studying, because at a certain point, after a number of years, I was wondering, well, where did this Zen come from? So I wanted to go back and find the source, and I ended up studying the Theravadan Suttas. And in studying the Theravadan Suttas, from my perspective, I saw some amount of alignment. And then one night I was reading the sutta, and they talked what I call the three fruits of Sotapan. And to realize that no bodily form is self, whether it's physical, spiritual, or mental, that no rites and rituals can help you attain enlightenment. Many Brahminical and other things in the Buddhist time, they were doing lots and lots of rites and rituals and things like that, and they thought that was benefiting them and the ancestors and all that kind of stuff. But you know, that may have some reality to it or not, but it's not going to help you to attain Nibbana. And that the Buddha, because of my insight, you realize that the Buddha is the true enlightened teacher. He is teaching the correct way. So when I read that in a sutta, it clicked in my mind, because those three things are what I attained when I attained that realization in the middle of a Zen meditation retreat, when my mind opened up to it. And but though I had no Theravadan reference or anything, but I remember those specific things in my mind, you know, that I saw very clearly, those things. And later on, when I was reading the sutra and it was describing that, then that's what happened to me. I attained Sotapan. So I'm not saying that out of pride or anything, and I don't want anyone to think anything about me one way or the other, up, down, inside, outside, backwards, forward, good, bad, doesn't matter to me. But I'm only saying this because if you haven't done it already, you can do it too. Because the Buddha was a man, technically, right? And he attained enlightenment. It means that all human beings have the capacity, unless they have some brain damage or something, you know what I mean, that doesn't allow them to completely manifest through their body, to attain it as well. And that's why he can teach it to others. If the Buddha attained something special, arahantship, something special that nobody else could attain, like you have in certain religions, you have like the one and only prophet or something like that, you know what I mean? And nobody else can attain that. Or you have guru-disciple lines where, there's one disciple who gets it when the guru dies. And then when he dies, the next disciple, one more, but beyond that, no one can really get the full realization. No, that's not Buddhism. Because Buddha was able to attain it, he was able to see that others could attain it as well. It was very, very difficult for him to attain. And he even says it's almost, he says it's kind of a, what's the word? Sorry, I'm getting old. Sometimes I forget words. Not accident, but, like winning the lottery. Luck. Good luck. It's almost like just by good luck, the right birth at the right time, meeting the right teachers who helped him to get to a certain point in everything and got him ready, to a certain extent, by going all the way up to the fourth formless realm and seeing how that was an enlightenment. And then he kept going. He didn't stop. He kept persisting and he broke through. But he actually says that a Tathagata, it's like an ocean that has a gourd floating in it. And then a turtle, just by coincidence, who comes up once every 100 years. 100 years is like a lifespan of a human being, who comes up once every 100 years, just by luck, sticks his head into the gourd, right? So that's the Tathagata, the one who becomes the Buddha, who attains arahantship, the first one. But he also says that everyone else who comes in contact with him, to a certain extent, it's almost like just luck too, so it's your good fortune. You're in the right place, the right time, and you have the right person to teach you. So like that. And there's a lot more to this sutta, which I'm not sure if you'll notice it, but I would simply say as we start going forward, it says, when I give a saying to the noble disciple, keep that in mind. When Buddha says noble disciple, he's talking about a noble attainer. Okay, he has to be a sotapanna or above. And by understanding that will give you insight into what the process is, what's going on right now, and how you're tracking along in this way. But anyways, that's why sometimes when I'm talking about Dharma and I'm talking about suttas and I'm talking about translation of various words and stuff, it's a little bit different from what other people say because I'm going off of my insight. And that insight gives me a slight advantage to see sort of like the way that the Buddha was trying to get something across, or one of his disciples or something like that. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it or anything, but I do have a slight subtle insight into some of these things. And it might be very helpful for people if I point something out like that, the noble disciple. Keep that in mind now as we go forward, as you read after that part. If you're going to go through that tonight, keep that in mind, and you'll see a pattern arise. There's actually a pattern going on here of developing oneself in the Dhamma. Anyway, so thank you very much for listening.
Richard. Richard, may I ask
so
you a
long.
question?
Yes.
Do you have so in the past when you practice in the Zen, so do you have a teacher?
Yes, I had a Zen master, but he's since passed away. He's passed away maybe 20 years ago. But I also I got into Zen because when I was 16 and a half, I took a vow to leave home and become a monk as soon as I was allowed to, as soon as I was there, because I'm underage, so I can't just go on my own. But I didn't know anything about Buddhism at the time. But I started to get connected with Indian mysticism. So I thought I'd go off and become some kind of Indian monk. So at the age of 17 and a half, between my junior and senior year of high school, I convinced my parents and said, look, there's no need for me to go on to high school this year, because as soon as I hit 18, I'm going to leave home because I'm age of majority. I can do that. So why waste that money? I'm not even going to finish. I left home without even a high school diploma. So I convinced them to let me go in the summertime between the two things. And I never returned home. So from there, I became a Hindu monk. And the first night I was there, I'd only visited that temple a few times, but I read some of their books and stuff. I said, oh, I want to shave my head. I want to put on the robe right away. And they were all kind of amazed, because they didn't really know me. I wasn't like a regular lay person visiting or anything. Who is this person? And then later on, a couple of the older monks came to me and said, you're the first person who ever came and joined here that wasn't totally spaced out. Because I went there to become enlightened. I didn't have anything else. I wasn't trying to adopt a religion or anything like that. I thought that might be the way to enlightenment. But after a while, I discovered it wasn't, that it was just a cult. But so I eventually, even though with them, I ended up going to India for almost 2 years, living in India as a monk and everything. And eventually got away from that. And when I came back to the United States, I just, by total coincidence, met a man that just started talking to me. And I was kind of a very shy, introverted person. Usually that type of person goes up and becomes a monk at a young age. It's not. I never partied. I never went on a date. I didn't drink alcohol or take drugs. I didn't smoke cigarettes or anything. I became a vegetarian, on my own. I didn't have any circle of friends or anything to introduce me to these things. I just kind of discovered them myself. And I went, and so I was sitting there at a little vegetarian restaurant, and and this gentleman just started talking to me. And so I wasn't really paying too much attention, but at a certain point, things he was saying struck my mind. And I thought, he's not just talking about a religion or philosophy or something. It seems like he's actually realized something. And I looked over and I thought, who is this person? And so he's the one who introduced me to Zen, and eventually to a Zen master several years later. And I was I don't know why, I was very fortunate. The first time I went to the Zen master to get the first koan, when I went in to meet him, he said, oh, you must be this fellow. And there was a little envelope with $20 in it, incense offering, they call it. And I said, yes. And he says, so what's your name? I said, Richard. And he says, so what do you do? And I said, I'm a computer programmer. And he goes, computer programmer? You must be very smart, very smart. That is very hard, very hard. So you must understand this Zen very well. Now, I had been studying with my mentor, philosophy of it and everything, of Zen and Chan Buddhism, for about 4 years or so at that point. And so I was thinking from an intellectual standpoint only, no realization or anything, that, yeah, I read all the ancient books and over again, and I kind of had a handle on it. And I went to start nodding my head, yes, in agreement. And as I was nodding my head, the thought arose in my mind, well, if I understood Zen, what would I have to go to a Zen master for? In other words, I'd already have it. It would be my own, right? You don't have to go and get something. If you're a fisherman and you already have a boatload of fish, you don't go to another fisherman and say, hey, can I, buy some fish, right? You already know how to fish. You already got your own fish. And when that thought arose in my mind, I knew that if you're in delusion, you're in complete delusion. You don't know what anything is. You may think you know what things are, but you actually don't know at all what anything is. And my brain just became kind of like stuck in a way, not in a detrimental way, but I knew I couldn't rely on any of my past knowledge and thinking or anything. I was able to drop that all away and start completely fresh. So he gave me the koan, and when he gave me the koan, since I had no reference points or anything to stand on, I couldn't even attempt to try to answer the question, okay? Now, the question was, I've never told anyone this, but the question was, how do you realize Buddha while hearing a sound? But I didn't have any reference point at all because I had let go of all of my preconceived ideas, all of my delusionary thoughts. And so I was kind of stuck there. So for a year, I would go and see him, when he was in town and stuff, and go and stuff. And then one night I had an insight. I was reading this book called The Golden Age of Zen, and I had this kind of like insight. And I thought, oh, I should go for a week meditation. And just by luck, I was able to take the next week off from work, and I was able to get a spot. I knew they were having a meditation retreat that week, and I went. And I just started holding the koan. That's the secret of the koan. The koan is like breath meditation. Buddha says in the Anguttara Nikaya chapter, the section on nines, the first sutta, he says the reason for doing the breath meditation is to stop thinking, vitaka. He doesn't mention vichara because vichara is like an expansion of vitaka. Vitaka means a thought, and vichara means to keep thinking that thought. So that's why when you're doing the breath meditation, I breathe in long, I breathe out long. So vitaka is I breathe in long, vitaka is I breathe out long, and keep that cycle going. That's vichara. So in the first, you use that to enter into the first and to maintain the first jhana. So koan is very similar. You just hold the koan. So I was able to hold the koan constantly, and even at night, I didn't sleep. I would go in a state of like, it was like blackness, but it wasn't frightening, and it was like crystal clear. It was like crystal clear blackness, and I would be able to just keep focusing on the koan. And by the morning of the fourth day, I went in to see the Roshi, and I'd been putting forth this tremendous effort, and he asked me the koan, and my mind just collapsed. And I had never made any attempt to answer it because of my experience and everything. And my mind just collapsed, and I just said, I don't know. And he looked at me like in astonishment, and he says, what? If you come to the Zen master with an answer like that, he'll reach in his sleeve, he'll take out a knife, and he'll cut your ear off. And he had a teaching stick in his hand, about this long, very nice, beautiful, gnarly type stick. And he came down like he was going to hit my shoulder, and it perked me up, and I looked him straight in the face, and he came down, and it just touched my shoulder. I didn't voluntarily move or anything, but when he touched my shoulder, it's like a shiver went through my whole body, and my mind almost opened up. And so he sent me on my way back to the Zendo. And then a couple hours later, and I was like in a heightened state, you might say. And a couple hours later, he was giving the Teisho on the 5 khandas, one each day. And that day, the fourth day, was the 4th khanda. But he said, this is a different interpretation than the original Theravadan interpretation. This is more of a Japanese Zen type interpretation. And he said, so when one gets to the level of the 4th khanda, one begins to ask questions like, who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What am I doing here? And when he said those things, boom, I saw that it was my own mind that was creating the delusion that I was a completely unenlightened being, lost, searching the whole universe, trying to find the perfect teacher, trying to find the perfect teaching, trying to find the perfect realization. And that was which I was later to find out in reading the Theravadan literature, under the influence of avidya, commonly ignorance, but I like to call it incomplete knowledge. I was forming these sankharas in my mind that were self-deluding me and causing me to remain bound to samsara. And simultaneously as that arose in my mind, and it was like an atomic bomb went off in my mind. And immediately, because I've been focusing so strongly on the koan just arose into my mind. And as it arose, I immediately knew what the answer was. And I saw that I could see the end of samsara for myself. I could see the end of this endless chain of birth and death. But I knew I wasn't completely enlightened, but I could see now that I have to change my thinking. I have to see reality as it really is, and not build these sankharas that cause you to become bound and caught up, like in the chain of dependent origination. So anyway, so that's just a tale. It's just a story. You don't have to accept it or anything like that. But some of the things I said in there might be very helpful for people when they're trying to understand this themselves. What it is you should be looking for. Like I explained what Vitakka Vichara is, right? What you're doing there. And what you're doing with Vitakka Vichara is you have an internal dialogue going on in your brain all the time. So replacing that internal dialogue with this, I breathe in long or I breathe in short, whatever, right? You're replacing that so that you're stopping that internal dialogue. And when you stop that internal dialogue in the first jhana, when you stop that, you can stop saying to yourself, I breathe in long, I breathe out long, or whatever it is that you're doing at that time. And you're still totally aware of your breath and you're maintaining your mind on it, but you don't need that Vitakka Vichara anymore in your mind. And then that's second jhana. From there, you go into second jhana. So,
Richard.
So Buddha taught a lot of things. Anyways, I'm sorry I'm speaking much too long, but
thank you so much
thank you
for
very much.
sharing about how the Zen practice in regards to koan. Yeah, the Zen practice. May I ask you, so what brings you to be interested in the Pali text then, from Zen to Pali to Theravada?
Well, that's what I said. After a number of years, my thought was, well, where did this all come from? And so that led me
Maybe you
to
can share
find
in 1 minute.
the Pali text. That's all. It just led me to find the Pali text. So can you hear me?
Can you repeat, please?
After a number of years,
Yes.
I don't know how many, maybe 10 or 15, one time I just thought, well, where did Zen come from? Because I knew that wasn't the original Buddhism, okay? In terms of its form, its current existence right now. So in searching back, I eventually came to Theravadan Buddhism. Now, Theravadan Buddhism is not original Buddhism either. If you know anything about the schools of Buddhism, it's, I don't know, about 3 generations removed or something. But it's as close as anything in the world now. So that led me to start studying the Theravadan Suttas and seeing these parallels that I'm able to see between Zen and that. I don't practice Zen Buddhism anymore. I follow this type of Buddhism, but I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But I don't think Buddha wants anyone to suffer. I don't think there's any suffering in Buddhism. You may suffer on your own. Maybe you're a monk and you're living out in the forest or something, and a cold, rainstorm comes in or something, which you weren't expecting, so you may suffer from that. But Buddhist talks about a comfortable abiding, that this Dharma, as much as possible, should be a comfortable abiding, not overly trying to enjoy your senses, but not torturing yourself either. Those are those two extremes. So there's some things in Zen where you're really struggling very hard psychologically and mentally and everything. And actually, if you had the proper translation of the Buddhist teachings, with the help of maybe the right people or something, I don't think you'd need
Richard,
to
now
really
do
struggle.
you have your teacher of reference now at the moment? I
I don't have any teacher now. My Zen master passed away, and my mentor passed away as well. I do listen to lots of Theravadan monks and nuns, Bhikkhu Bodhi, Bhikkhu Sujato, Ajahn Brahm.
Have you ever shared with them?
Ajahn Sumedho, the Bhikkhunis. Most of my lectures that I've attended in person are with the Bhikkhunis.
I see.
And there's a reason for that. It might sound strange, but I think that the Bhikkhunis have the potential of finding the Dharma in the correct way. And what I mean by that is, especially I'm talking about the Theravadan Bhikkhunis, because you're outsiders and you have these patriarchal hierarchies that are trying to deny you, that should actually give you a certain amount of freedom in your mind. I remember, I think it was last year, I attended one of the online programs here, and I think it was International Bhikkhuni Day. And so the Bhikkhunis were, different Bhikkhunis were talking from different centers around and just talking about their experience. And a lot of them were saying, you know, how difficult it is to try to overcome the discrimination of the monks against them. And I always remember there was this one Bhikkhuni, she said,
I think there's not.
she said, I'm tired of fighting for a seat at the table. And that's my point. You don't have to. Buddhism is for everybody. You don't have to fight for a seat at the table. Just make it your own.
The most important is about the practice. Huh? Just put into the practice rather than fight for anything. They're more practical. Yeah, because enlightenment is self-practice, right? Yeah, to cultivate our mind rather than, that's most important about cultivating the mind rather than the thing outside. Yeah, they put more efforts and times and energy in the practice that is much helpful for oneself and other. Yeah. Thank you so much, Richard, for sharing. And for all our Dhamma friends here, I'm so happy that tonight could share together and discuss the Dhamma together, this precious opportunity while I'm spending my Vasa here in the US. Yeah, I'm so happy to know each and every one of you and knowing that you are keeping your precept and you are living well. And I also hope that if there is anything that you may need someone to talk to, I'm mostly welcome to the monastery and talk to the Venerable Bhikkhuni to share and discuss about what you have faced, or even like sharing about your life. And we can share in the Dhamma way that will be helpful to make our life making better and even better progress. Yeah. So may you and me, everyone here grows in the Dhamma, and would like to share the merits that you have done by the sharing the sutta, and also from your practice, from your daily practice, from keeping your precept, and from your generosity of sharing the Dhamma. May you be well and happy and healthy. May you walk on the path smoothly without much obstacle. May we grow in the Dhamma, grow in the wisdom. May our mind be strong and steadfast on the path and never give up from life to life until the final eradication of the suffering of the cycle of rebirth. We also would like to share this merit with all seen and unseen beings around us. May they be safe with no fear. May they have the good opportunity to listen to the Dhamma and to practice themselves to live a happy life and eventually to attain the final liberation, to free from this samsara. Yatha varivaha pura paripurinti sagaram evam eva ito dinam petanam upakapati unname udakang vatang yathaninam pavatati evam eva ito dinam petanam upakapati Chitang patitang tuiham kipameva samijatu sabbe purintu cita sankapa chando panyaraso yatha manijo tiraso yatha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May the teaching of the Buddha last long and may benefits all living beings. And finally, I would like to give another 2 minutes to Paula to share the announcement of the Dhamma.
Oh, I was also gonna take a moment to share, but Paula, you may be announcing what I was gonna announce. Go right ahead.
Why don't you go, Sherry, and then I will pop in if it's not the same.
I was just going to invite everybody to the Dhamma 25th anniversary on Saturday, August 9th. Yes, thank you. The 20th anniversary on August 9th. Oh, they now have the time scheduled. So that should be great. And I hope everybody in Fremont and at the Watt will be able to make it, as well as the other participants in this group. I just wanted to share, there's a pamphlet outside the door. I don't know if Victor brought it in or not, because I could only join online today. I was returning from San Francisco. But there is a flyer that has any further information that you might be interested in for the event. Thank you. Paula, was that your announcement?
Very similar, Sherry. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, so we have the date and the time set for the anniversary. So it'll be 6:30 to 9 p.m. Saturday, August 9th in person. We will have some wonderful guests joining us. So our beloved teacher, Ayat Tataloka, will be in attendance, as well as our former Vice Abbess, Aya Sobana. Aya Santachita will be joining us, as well as many other guests. So if you're able to make it 6:30 to 9 p.m., it will be a wonderful celebration of Dhammadharini's 20th anniversary. There will also be online programs for those who cannot join us in person, and this is also to cover many time zones. So there will be 2 online celebrations on the 16th. And as always, there are ways to support Dhammadharini. So there's volunteer opportunities on the website. So many ways to volunteer and help out, especially with this program coming up on the 9th. We also have more special programs that are on the website as well. And always support the Sangha. So there are opportunities on the website as well to offer meals to the bhikkhunis, to offer requisites or anything that you're able to offer. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us, and thank you for your practice.
Okay, thanks everyone. And take care until see you again next time. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Aya.
Most welcome.
Sadhu.